Okay, so we've looked at the really basic checking of the first name, last name, and comment just to make sure they put something in, and we've looked at how to get back and show them they've gone wrong. The next section is to look at the email validation, which is this chunk here. Again, you could drop this in your script and just put an extra brace on the end there and test that before you go on and test the email too, which will be in the next video. So let's just run through this quickly. So this is all going to rely on this test here. This is a regular expression, or regex. So we're just going to store it in this variable called filter, because writing all this into your code is a bit of a pain in the bum. And I'm not really an expert on regular expressions, and there are people that really enjoy writing these. I don't, and there are big directories that you can just go and pull them for whichever task you want to, whatever string you want to check. So these are going to check the value in our email and compare it to what it would expect to get. So just to run through briefly on it, it's basically checking to see if the first part of the email address is either A to Z small characters, so any small letter, any capital letter, the capital A to Z, and any number 0 to 9. It's then looking for a full stop or a dot, and it's then looking for basically the same thing again. So any email address that contains characters may also contain a dot, and then may also contain more characters. So something like Piers.Hartley would pass. Just Piers would pass because it's not necessarily looking for a dot every time. It's just saying that that is an option. And then you've got an @ symbol, so it wants to see an @ symbol next, and then it wants to see some characters, and then it wants to see a dot. So for instance, something like Google dot, and then it's looking for some more characters or some more numbers, but it's only looking for between 2 and 4 of them. So something like .com or .co would pass. So that's just a really rough kind of go at working out, is this some kind of email address or not? Does it have an @ symbol? Does it have .co or .com at the end? Is it made up of letters and numbers rather than exclamation marks or hashes? So this will be a relatively light test, so you can get much stricter regexes. The problem is, as you get stricter, you tend to exclude some email addresses. So I've just gone for the one that is really easy to pass, but at the same time does at least check that it's formatted something like an email address. So we're going to store that in var filter so that we can call it later on. And then we've got this if statement. Now this if statement is going to do filter.test email. So it will check the email, which is our variable at the top, which is storing the value of getElementById email. So it's storing whatever's in that field that's got email on as an ID, and it's then bringing it down here and it's testing it against this filter expression. So it's checking to see whether it meets that. Now what I've done is put an exclamation point at the start of the little test here, and that's basically saying not, usually called a pling in programming. So if it doesn't pass the test, if it doesn't match, or it's not in the format that matches that, then do this stuff. So then we're going to run an alert, we've seen that before, and we're going to focus on the email field, we've seen that before. This line in the middle is clearing that email field, so it's going to the document, it's going to find that email field, and then it's going to set its value to nothing. That's necessary because before when we were up here, we were checking to see if it did contain nothing and then kind of redirecting them to it. However, we've now got a test that you can fail when you've typed something in. So if you type some gibberish in, you really want that gibberish to be cleared out before you ask the user to have another go. So that line just goes to that email box and sets its value to nothing, gets rid of whatever's in there. And then return false in order to stop the rest of the script running and to stop the page reloading, so that we get all of our other data there, just we get warned about the email. So let's just take a look at that.